his heart stop. The 17-year-old Japanese boy's face turned bright red in an instant. Had Kate really said that? All eyes in the packed gymnasium were fixed on Kate. Why would the most popular girl in school say something like that to him? The stands erupted in noise. Students stared at each other. What did Kate just say? No way, is she serious? Good for that Asian guy. Some students couldn't contain their shock, while others pulled out their smartphones to record. They instinctively knew this moment would go down in school history. On the other side of the ring, Tyler Wilson clenched his fists tightly. His face, the principal's son, was contorted with anger. How dare that Japanese guy say that to him? Hatred burned in Tyler's eyes. He couldn't possibly allow the girl he was interested in, Kate, to say something like that to such a pathetic, insignificant student. Hasegawa, fumbling with his gloves, wondered, how did it come to this? Just 3 weeks ago, I was practically invisible. As the ring lights illuminated his face, his memories began to flood back. The day it all began. It all started 3 weeks ago. The noise in the hallway, the laughter of children, and then a girl's scream. He didn't know it then, that one small act of courage would lead to such a big change. He saw the long hallways of Memory Private High School. It was lunchtime, and the students were bustling. But something unsettling was happening in a corner of the hallway. He was taking a book out of his locker, quietly, as usual, trying to be inconspicuous. But this time was different. The moment that would change his life was approaching. The lunchtime hallway was as crowded as ever. But in a corner, something unusual was happening. Several boys were surrounding a girl. "Hey, Kate, you're free tonight, right? Want to go see a movie with us? Why are you so distant? Let's be friends." It was Brad, Mark, and David, Tyler's friends. They were known troublemakers in school. They were big and rough-voiced. Kate, backed against the wall, shook her head with a displeased expression. Kate was truly troubled. She didn't know how to escape this situation. She knew there was nothing good to come from interacting with them. "I'm sorry, but I'm busy," Kate said cautiously, but the boys showed no signs of backing down. Instead, they moved closer. "Busy with what? What's so busy at school? Are you scared of us? We just want to be friends." Brad lightly touched Kate's arm. Kate flinched in surprise. Other students passing by saw the situation and turned away. No one tried to intervene. Just then, Hasegawa, quietly organizing books in his locker, heard the commotion. He turned his head and saw a girl surrounded by several boys. The girl was Kate. Hasegawa knew Kate. She was the most beautiful and popular girl in school, the ace of the cheerleading squad and the vice president of the student council. But now, her expression was different from usual, filled with fear. That situation is a bit strange. Hasegawa's heart began to pound. He felt he had to help, but he lacked the courage. He was just a quiet student, and they were the school's notorious troublemakers. "Hey, Kate, why are you so cold?" Mark put his hand on Kate's shoulder. Kate stepped back in surprise, but she was blocked by the wall and had nowhere else to go. "Please stop it." Kate's voice trembled. Her usual confident self was nowhere to be seen. The boys chuckled, finding Kate's reaction amusing. "What's so scary? What do you think we'll do? We just want to be friends, so why the rejection?" David tried to lightly touch Kate's chin. Kate closed her eyes tightly and turned her face away. The situation was getting more serious. Hasegawa couldn't watch any longer. Something hot surged within him. His father always said, "It takes courage to do the right thing, but that's why it's more valuable." Hasegawa put his book in the locker and slowly walked towards them. His heart pounded, but his steps didn't falter. "Excuse me." His voice trembled, but it was clear. boys turned and looked at Hasegawa. Huh, who is this guy? Isn't it that Asian student? The one who's always alone? Brad looked Hasegawa up and down, seeing him as shorter and physically weaker. What do you want? Do you have something to say to me? Hasegawa took a deep breath. His voice trembled, but he spoke as clearly as he could. That student looks uncomfortable. Could you please stop? For a moment, the hallway fell silent. Several students passing by stopped and watched. The Asian student was defying the school's notorious troublemakers. Mark approached Hasegawa, laughing. What did you say? What did you just say to us? Kate stared at Hasegawa, disbelief on her face. Had the quiet Asian student stepped forward to defend her? Someone she'd never even exchanged words with at school. Kate's heart pounded, not from fear, but for another reason. She couldn't believe someone was showing courage for her. Why is that student trying to defend me? Kate looked at Hasegawa, who was trembling and scared. She could see he was scared too. Yet he was standing up for her. Hey, are you trying to butt into our business? David pushed Hasegawa in the chest with his hand. Hasegawa stumbled back, but didn't fall. Hasegawa's voice trembled further, but he didn't back down. He looked at Kate and said, Are you okay? At that moment, Kate's heart felt a pang. He was in a much more difficult situation than she was, yet he was worried about her. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate replied softly. Just then, Brad angrily grabbed Hasegawa's shoulder. Hey, who do you think you are butting into our business? Get lost. It was at that very moment. A familiar voice was heard from the end of the hallway. What are you doing there? It was Tyler Wilson, the principal's son. He strode towards them. His friends immediately tensed up. Tyler, we were just... But Tyler's attention wasn't on Brad or Mark. His gaze was fixed on Kate. And when he saw Hasegawa standing next to her, Tyler's face contorted. Kate, are you okay? Tyler asked gently, but his gaze towards Hasegawa was cold. Kate nodded. Yes. Did this student help me? Kate pointed to Hasegawa. Tyler's expression darkened further. Tyler forced a smile and said to Hasegawa, Thank you. What's your name? Hasegawa felt the hidden threat behind Tyler's fake smile, but he answered honestly. Hasegawa. Nice name. Thank you, really. Tyler patted Hasegawa on the shoulder. On the surface, he seemed grateful, but his touch carried a warning. Kate approached Hasegawa and said softly, Thank you so much, Hasegawa-kun. It's nothing. Yes, thank you so much. Kate's gaze was warm. Hasegawa's heart pounded. He had never felt this way before, but he didn't know. He didn't know that this moment would completely change his destiny. After the incident in the gymnasium, Tyler outwardly appeared calm, but inwardly, his anger simmered. On his way to the principal's office, his fists were clenched tightly. How dare that Japanese guy? Tyler had been interested in Kate for 3 years. He considered himself the king of this school and believed Kate should naturally be his. Yet, this pathetic, insignificant student had stolen his place. A dangerous glint appeared in Tyler's blue eyes. I won't let that Asian guy get away with this. The next morning, Hasegawa went to school as usual. He recalled yesterday's events and smiled faintly. He was glad he could help Kate, but he didn't realize. Tyler's friends were watching him from various corners of the hallway. Hey, he's here. What did Tyler say? Let's have some fun. Brad, Mark, and David exchanged glances. They had already received special instructions from Tyler. As the bell rang, Mark approached Hasegawa as he stepped into the hallway with a feigned friendliness. Hey, looking good. Thanks for yesterday. Hasegawa was a little perplexed. He was one of the students who hadn't thought well of him after yesterday's situation. off. Why the sudden interest? Just then, Mark strongly pushed Hasagawa's shoulder. Just kidding, man. You gotta tell us if you're scared. It was English class. The teacher, Mr. Wilson, who was also Tyler's father and the principal, was teaching English himself. All right, today is presentation time. Hasagawa-kun, please come to the front and introduce yourself. Hasagawa was surprised. He hadn't heard that it was his turn to present, but he couldn't refuse and stepped forward. Hello, I am Hasagawa. I came from Japan. And then Tyler raised his hand and interrupted. Teacher, his pronunciation is a little off. Wouldn't it be better to let him try again? The entire classroom fell silent. Hasagawa's face turned bright red. He knew his pronunciation was a problem, but being pointed out so publicly was truly embarrassing. It was lunchtime. Hasagawa quietly received his lunch as usual and sat in a corner seat. But today, something was different. David approached Hasagawa's table. He was holding a lunch covered in ketchup. Hey, can I sit here? Before Hasagawa could answer, David pretended to slip and dropped his tray. Oops, ketchup and spaghetti. Milk splashed onto Hasagawa's shirt and pants. Hasagawa stood up in surprise, but his clothes were already ruined. Oh, sorry, it really wasn't on purpose. David apologized loudly, but his eyes clearly showed it was intentional. The entire cafeteria began to stare at Hasagawa. Some students snickered, while others sent sympathetic glances. Wow, he's completely messed up. Poor guy. But apparently something happened with Tyler yesterday. Hasagawa hurried to the restroom. Looking in the mirror, he was a mess. Red ketchup spread like a stain on his white shirt, and his pants were also stained with sauce. This couldn't be a coincidence. He wiped his clothes with water and thought, it's clear this happened because of yesterday. But I don't regret it. Helping Kate was the right thing to do. Just then, Kate, passing by the restroom, saw Hasagawa. She was surprised to see him in such a mess. Hasagawa-kun, what happened? Kate asked with concern. Hasagawa hurriedly shook his head. It's nothing. Just a mishap. But Kate wasn't foolish. Connecting yesterday's events with today's situation, she felt something was wrong. Could it be because of yesterday? Kate's voice was filled with guilt. The thought that Hasagawa was being bullied because of her crossed her mind. Hasagawa saw Kate's worried expression. He knew she felt responsible. So he smiled and replied, I'm really okay. It was just an accident. But Kate didn't believe his words. She could tell from Hasagawa's eyes that he was lying. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's because of me. No, it's not, Hasagawa said firmly. I don't regret it, neither yesterday nor today. I'm fine. Kate's heart ached. It was both grateful and pitiful that Hasagawa was enduring hardship because of her. Just then, Tyler appeared from the end of the hallway. Seeing Kate and Hasagawa together, his face contorted. Kate, what are you doing here? Tyler asked as he approached. Kate tensed up for a moment. I was worried if something happened to Hasagawa-kun. How did your clothes get like that? Tyler asked with feigned concern. Hasagawa noticed Tyler's act, but said nothing. It's nothing, Hasagawa replied concisely. Tyler smiled with satisfaction. From that day on, Hasagawa's school life became hell. He was bullied every day. When he walked down the hallway, someone would deliberately bump into him. During class, pencils and erasers would be thrown at him. Books would go missing from his locker or be torn apart. But the most frustrating thing was that all of it happened under the guise of coincidence. He couldn't report it without evidence. Tyler watched from afar, satisfied. He could see the Japanese guy shrinking away. Now you know. Who owns this school? Tyler smirked coldly. But this was just the beginning. The real revenge was yet to come. Every night, Hasagawa lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He was afraid of school, but he still didn't regret it. Helping Kate was the right thing to do, but he was lonely. He couldn't confide in anyone. He thought talking to his mother would worry her too much. Yet sometimes, when he met Kate's eyes in the hallway, her warm smile was a comfort. That smile alone was enough to get him through the day. Just a little longer, just a little longer, Hasagawa told himself and closed his eyes. But he didn't know that an even bigger trial awaited him soon. A week had passed since the bullying began. Kate's heart ached every time she saw Hasagawa in the hallway. He had become much quieter than before, always walking with his head down. It's my fault. It's definitely my fault. Kate blamed herself. Since Hasagawa helped her, she knew strange things had been happening. The lunch incident, the missing books from the locker, the constant collisions in the hallway. It couldn't all be a coincidence. She knew it was clearly Tyler and his friends doing. At lunchtime, Kate searched for Hasagawa in the library. He was sitting alone in a corner, reading a book. He looked even lonelier than usual. Kate gathered her courage and approached him. "Hasagawa-kun, do you have a moment?" Hasagawa looked up in surprise. He couldn't believe Kate had come to him. "Ah, yes." Kate sat next to Hasagawa and cautiously began to speak. "I'm so sorry that this is happening because of me." Hasagawa saw Kate's worried expression. He knew she was suffering because of him. So he replied wholeheartedly, "I'm fine, really. Are you really okay? Why are you okay? You must be suffering. I don't regret it." Hasagawa's voice was firm. Kate's heart ached at his words. Why don't you regret it? You're going through so much hardship because of me." Hasagawa hesitated for a moment before speaking honestly, "Just because it was the right thing to do, and I'm glad I could help you." Kate's heart pounded at Hasagawa's words. The person who went through so much hardship for her without regret looked truly cool for the first time. So, this is what this feeling is. Kate was experiencing an emotion she had never felt before. She felt her gaze towards Hasagawa changing. "Hasagawa-kun, thank you. Thank you so much," Kate said softly. At that moment, a strange atmosphere flowed between them. From that day on, Kate began to show Hasagawa a little interest. Although she didn't outwardly show it, she wanted to help him in her own way. One morning, when Hasagawa opened his locker, he found a small package of bandages inside. It seemed someone had seen him injure his knee during physical education class yesterday. There was no note, but Hasagawa knew who had put it there. Kate was looking at him from the end of the hallway. When their eyes met, Kate immediately looked away, but he could see her face turning red. The next day, Kate dropped her pen in English class. Hasagawa, sitting right next to her, quickly picked it up and handed it to her. "Thank you," Kate said softly. The moment their fingers brushed, both of them felt their hearts pound. These small things continued. Hasagawa would pick up something Kate dropped, and Kate would show concern for Hasagawa's injuries. They didn't exchange many words, but their mutual interest grew gradually. One lunchtime, Hasagawa and Kate arranged to meet in the hallway. Since there were other students around, they couldn't talk, but Kate gave Hasagawa a small smile. Hasagawa awkwardly smiled back. At that moment, Kate's heart pounded. Hasagawa's smile looked truly warm, but they didn't know. From afar, Tyler was watching all of this. Anger flickered across his face. What are they doing? Tyler gritted his teeth. Despite all his bullying, Hasagawa didn't crumble and seemed to be getting closer to Kate. "I have to be stronger." Tyler signaled his friends. was now time to escalate. After school, Hasagawa headed towards the gymnasium. It was where he worked his cleaning job. Only here could he feel peace. But today, something was different. Kate was waiting for him at the entrance of the gymnasium. "Hasagawa-kun, Kate, what are you doing here?" Kate hesitated for a moment and said, "I just thought you might be alone." Hasagawa's heart pounded. Was Kate worried about him and asking him? Sitting in a corner of the gymnasium, the two of them had their first real conversation. "Do you do boxing?" Kate asked, looking at the sandbag and the ring in the gymnasium. "I just clean. It's a part-time job." "So, you don't know boxing?" Hasagawa hesitated for a moment. Memories of his father surfaced. "My father taught me a little. My father passed away when I was a child, 5 years ago." Kate's expression darkened for a moment. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "It's okay. They are good memories." At that moment, Kate saw a different side of Hasagawa. A boy who hid his sadness, but possessed a strong heart. Someone who, despite being in a more difficult situation than her, had a warm heart that worried about others. "Why did you help me? What was the real reason?" Hasagawa hesitated for a moment before answering honestly. "Just because it was the right thing to do, and I couldn't just stand by when I saw you were scared." Kate's heart ached. Could this feeling, this emotion, be the beginning of love? As they left the gymnasium, Kate pondered. It was a completely different feeling from the boys she had liked before. Hasagawa wasn't the cool or popular type, but he was something special. He was honest, courageous, and had a compassionate heart. That was new to Kate. Is this really what it feels like to like someone? Kate thought about Hasagawa the entire way home. His smile, his voice, his warm heart, they all replayed in her mind. Hasagawa was the same. The conversation he had with Kate kept playing in his mind. He couldn't believe the most popular girl in school was showing interest in him, but at the same time, he became worried. The closer Kate got to him, the bigger the problems might become. Tyler would surely not remain silent. Still, this feeling was really good. Hasagawa smiled faintly and arrived home. It had been a day where his heart felt warm for the first time in a long time. After her conversation with Hasagawa, Kate completely changed. She found herself stealing glances at him during class, and her heart pounded whenever they met in the hallway. Even her friends noticed. "Hasagawa, you seem to have changed recently. What's wrong? You seem to be spacing out a lot. Did you perhaps find someone you like?" Kate shook her head, her face blushing. She couldn't tell her friends yet, especially considering Hasagawa's current situation. At lunchtime, Kate watched Hasagawa eating alone from afar. He always sat in a corner seat, eating quietly, and for some reason, he looked lonely. "I want to sit with him." But Kate couldn't muster the courage. The closer she became to Hasagawa, the more damage might be inflicted upon him. She always felt Tyler's gaze. Just then, she saw Brad approaching Hasagawa's table. Something bad is about to happen again. "Hasagawa, how's your lunch today?" Brad said with feigned friendliness. Hasagawa replied without letting his guard down. "Yeah, by the way, you seem to be talking to Kate a lot lately. Did you guys get close?" Hasagawa's heart pounded. It seemed they had found out after all. "No, it's just a coincidence." "A coincidence, huh? I see." Brad strongly pushed Hasagawa's shoulder as he spoke. Hasagawa leaned forward, and soup splashed onto his shirt. "Oops, sorry, I messed up again." Kate couldn't stand it when she saw this. She stood up abruptly and approached Brad. "What are you doing, Brad?" "Huh, Kate, it was just an accident. An accident. I saw everything. You did it on purpose." It might have really been an accident. Hasegawa tried to appease Kate, but she didn't back down. Yes, Hasegawa-kun, this wasn't an accident. I understand everything, Kate said, glaring at Brad. If you do it again, I won't forgive you. Tyler, watching all of this from afar, his face contorted. He couldn't possibly stand Kate getting angry at his friend for that Japanese guy. This has really gone too far. Tyler clenched his fists tightly. If they had been bullying indirectly until now, it was now time to act directly. He winked at Brad. Brad nodded and retreated. It was now Tyler's turn. That afternoon, Kate visited the gymnasium again. She wanted to talk more with Hasegawa. The incident at lunchtime had solidified her feelings. She didn't want to hide it anymore. As she entered the gymnasium, Hasegawa was wiping down the sandbag for the third time. His back looked somehow lonely. Hasegawa-kun. Hasegawa turned around. He looked surprised to see Kate. Kate, you came again. Yes. I'm sorry about what happened at lunchtime today. My intervention might have made things more complicated. Hasegawa shook his head. No, thank you. It was the first time someone protected me. Kate's heart ached. Hasegawa-kun, I'll be honest. Are you really okay with suffering like this because of me? Yes, I'm fine. Why? Why are you fine? You must be suffering. Hasegawa hesitated for a moment before speaking honestly. Because I can talk to you. That alone is enough. Kate's face turned red. Hasegawa's honest feelings reached her. Hasegawa-kun, I'll be honest too, Kate said, gathering her courage. I think I like you. Hasegawa's eyes widened. His expression was one of disbelief. Really, really? Yes. At first, I felt sorry. I felt bad that you were suffering because of me, but now it's different. Hasegawa took a step closer. I like your warm heart, your courageous actions, your compassionate heart, all of it. Hasegawa's heart felt like it would burst. It was like a dream. I like you too. Hasegawa's voice trembled. Since the first time I saw you in the hallway. Yes. Since that moment I helped you. I've been thinking about you. The two looked at each other. They were the only ones in the gymnasium, and time seemed to have stopped. Kate held Hasegawa's hand. Hasegawa's hand trembled. Are you scared? Yes. It feels like a dream. Kate smiled. It's not a dream. It's real. The two sat side by side in a corner of the gymnasium, holding hands. What do you think will happen from now on? I don't know, but Hasegawa looked at Kate. I feel like I can do anything with you. Kate's heart grew warm. Me too. Whatever happens from now on, I'll be on your side. Really? Really? This was their first promise. But they didn't know. They didn't know that this promise would soon be tested. Tyler was watching all of this from outside the gymnasium window. Kate and Hasegawa holding hands, looking at each other and smiling. It all fueled his anger. This is really the end. I can't stand it anymore. Tyler left the gymnasium with a grim expression. It was time to execute his true plan. He would completely crush that Japanese guy and make Kate understand who the real man was. In the ring. That night, Tyler proposed to his father. Father, how about adding a boxing match to the school festival? His father, the principal, showed interest. Boxing, huh? Interesting. The students will probably enjoy it. Yes, it will be a good opportunity to foster a healthy sportsmanship in our students. A cold glint appeared in Tyler's eyes. Now, all the preparations were complete. He had created the perfect opportunity to completely beat that Japanese guy in the ring. Hasegawa and Kate didn't know it yet. They didn't know that their love would soon face its greatest trial. Monday morning, the morning announcement echoed. All students, please gather in the gymnasium. We have an important announcement. The students, buzzing with anticipation, headed to the gymnasium. Hasagawa and Kate walked together. After confirming their feelings for each other last night, their expressions were even brighter. What do you think the announcement will be? Kate asked curiously. Maybe about the school festival, Hasagawa replied, but he didn't know yet. He didn't know that this announcement would completely change his destiny. As all the students gathered in the gymnasium, Principal Wilson stepped onto the stage. Tyler stood beside him with a proud expression. Students, I have some interesting news to share today. The principal's voice echoed throughout the gymnasium. Next month, we will be adding a new event to our school festival. It's boxing. For a moment, the gymnasium fell silent. The students stared at each other. Hasagawa's heart pounded. Boxing? Why boxing? Of course, for safety, we will be wearing headgear and all protective gear. The principal continued his explanation. It will be divided by weight class, and we will determine the winner through a tournament. This will be a good opportunity to foster the physical and mental strength of our students. The head of the physical education department took the microphone. Applications will be accepted until this Friday. We encourage many to participate. As the announcement ended and the students buzzed, Tyler's gaze was fixed on Hasagawa. A sinister smile played on his lips. When their eyes met, Tyler made a cutting motion across his throat with his finger. It was a clear provocation. Hasagawa felt a chill run down his spine. He instinctively understood that this boxing match was no accident. Kate also didn't miss Tyler's gaze. Seeing him glare at Hasagawa, anxiety washed over her. Hasagawa-kun, you're not planning to participate in the boxing match, are you? Of course not. I'm not interested in that. Hasagawa replied, but Kate's anxiety didn't disappear. Tyler's expression kept replaying in her mind. A few days later, Hasagawa was called to the physical education department. The teacher showed him some documents and said, Hasagawa, there's a recommendation for you to participate in the boxing match. Huh? Who? Who recommended me? Tyler recommended you. He heard your father used to box and thought you might have potential. Hasagawa's mind went blank. Tyler was trying to drag him into the boxing match. Teacher, I really can't box. Don't worry. I've already prepared the registration forms. The teacher showed him the documents on his desk. Hasagawa's name was clearly written there. Teacher, I didn't apply. Tyler applied on your behalf. It seems you have a good friend. Hasagawa was speechless. This was Tyler's plan. To drag him into the ring and publicly humiliate him. Teacher, I really can't box. It's okay, as long as you know the basics. And the principal is also actively hoping for your participation. Principal, meaning Tyler's father, was also involved in this. That day at lunchtime, Hasagawa told Kate the news. Kate's face turned pale. What? You were forced to sign up? Yes, I think it was Tyler's doing. Kate clenched her fists. This is too unfair. I'll go talk to the principal. No, Kate, that will only complicate things further. Hasagawa stopped Kate. Then what should I do? Tyler has been training in boxing. Kate's voice trembled, a mixture of worry and anger. Hasagawa sank into thought for a moment. He could refuse, but then he would have to live as a coward forever, and he would be ashamed in front of Kate. Kate, yes, I'll do it. What? Kate looked at him in disbelief. You'll participate in the boxing match. It's dangerous. Tyler has really been training in boxing. Hasagawa grabbed Kate's hand. I don't want to run away anymore, and I don't want to look like a coward in front of you. Tears welled up in Kate's eyes. You idiot. Who said you were a coward? You might get hurt. It's okay, Kate. I'll find a way. Hasagawa wiped Kate's tears. Promise me you won't get hurt. I promise. But he knew how difficult it would be to keep that promise. That evening, Hasagawa stayed in the gymnasium alone. After finishing his cleaning, he stared at the ring in the quiet gymnasium. Do I really have to go up there? Hasagawa slowly approached the ring. He touched it lightly and found it sturdier than he expected. The reality of having to face Tyler on this ring soon became palpable. Just then, the gymnasium manager entered the gymnasium. Hasagawa, you're still here. Ah, manager. The manager, seeing Hasagawa's expression, sensed something was amiss. What's wrong? You don't look well. Hasagawa explained the entire situation to the manager. How he helped Kate, Tyler's bullying, and how he was forced to participate in the boxing match. The manager listened quietly. So, what are you going to do? I don't know, but I don't want to run away. The manager placed his hand on Hasagawa's shoulder. What would your father say if he were alive? Hasagawa thought for a moment. What would my father say? Probably, do the right thing. The manager smiled. Then your answer is already decided, isn't it? Manager, can you help me? Hasagawa asked cautiously. I want to train, real training. The manager's gaze became serious. There's no time, only 2 weeks. I know, but I want to give it my best. The manager looked at Hasagawa for a while before nodding. All right, but this training will be tough. Are you ready? Yes. For the first time, Hasagawa's voice was filled with conviction. This was truly the beginning, the real preparation to face Tyler in the ring. That night, Hasagawa lay in bed and thought, 2 weeks. Would he really become strong enough to face Tyler in 2 weeks? But he had no choice. He couldn't go back now, and he couldn't disappoint Kate. Hasagawa clenched his fists tightly. His father's face came to mind. Father, please watch over me. There were only 14 days left until the showdown. That night, after his conversation with the manager, Hasagawa was tidying up the gymnasium's manager's office. Among old documents and dusty books, he found an old envelope. The envelope was addressed to Hasagawa. It was his father's handwriting. Hasagawa's hands trembled. A letter from his father, written at an unknown time, as if waiting for this very moment. Opening the letter, his father's warm handwriting appeared. My beloved son, Hasagawa, if you are reading this letter, it means I am no longer by your side. I'm sorry, my son. Do you remember why I taught you boxing? Not to hit someone, but to learn how to believe in yourself and walk your path with confidence. Hasagawa continued reading, holding back tears. The most important thing in boxing is not your fists, but your heart. Overcoming fear and standing with confidence. That is true strength. Someday, you will face a truly difficult situation. Remember then, your father believes in you. You have a much stronger heart than your father ever did. Boxing is not about beating your opponent. It's about beating yourself. Overcome the fear and weakness in your heart. My beloved son, you are not alone. Your father is always by your side. Tears streamed down Hasagawa's face. He could hear his father's voice. After finishing the letter, Hasagawa had completely changed. His fear hadn't disappeared, but a warm courage had taken root in his heart. Father, I understand now. This is not a battle with Tyler, but a battle with myself. Hasagawa carefully folded the letter and put it in his pocket. Then he looked at the gymnasium sandbag. It was time to begin the real training. The next afternoon, his first formal training with the manager began. Let's review the basics again. The manager watched Hasagawa's stance. The fundamentals his father had taught him as a child remained, but since he hadn't practiced for a long time, His movements were awkward. Spread your feet shoulder-width apart. That's it. Your center of gravity should be on your front foot. Your guard should be a little higher. The manager's detailed instructions continued. Hasegawa followed each one, imprinting them on his body. All right, try hitting the sandbag. Hasegawa stood in front of the sandbag. His fists trembled at first, but remembering his father's letter calmed him. Bang! His first jab hit the sandbag. It was weak, but accurate. Good. That's the feel. The manager encouraged him. Gradually, his punches became harder and faster. His body remembered. After hitting the sandbag for 30 minutes, Hasegawa was drenched in sweat, but he felt refreshed. When he finished training and came out, Kate was waiting for him. Are you okay? Kate asked with concern. Hasegawa's face was flushed red. Yes, I'm fine. I actually feel good. Are you really not hurting? It must be very difficult. It was difficult at first, but when I thought of my father, I gained strength. Hasegawa smiled brightly. Kate was relieved to see Hasegawa like this. But don't push yourself too hard. Okay. Thank you, Kate. The next day's training became more intense. The manager put on mitts and became his sparring partner. All right, try hitting while moving this time. Your opponent won't stand still. The manager moved left and right, shaking the mitts. Hasegawa threw punches while following his movements. At first, many punches missed, but gradually they became more accurate. Good. Don't break the rhythm. Watch the timing. Read your opponent's movements. The manager's instructions continued. The most important thing in boxing is footwork. The manager taught Hasegawa footwork. Forward, backward, left, right. Always maintain your balance. Dodging your opponent's attacks is important, but it's also important to create angles for your own attacks. Hasegawa practiced repeatedly, sweating. At first, his movements were awkward, but they gradually became natural. Kate watched him from afar. She was amazed at how he changed little by little every day. A week had passed since he started training. There was a definite change in Hasegawa's body and mind. First, his stamina increased. At first, he would get out of breath after just 30 minutes, but now he could endure over an hour of training. The accuracy of his punches also greatly improved. He could now hit the same spot on the sandbag repeatedly, but the biggest change was his mindset. He no longer cowered and walked with his head held high. His change was also felt at school. When he passed Tyler's friends in the hallway, he no longer avoided them like before. Hey, he seems to have changed, Brad whispered to Mark. Yeah, he looks more confident than before. Tyler also noticed this change, but it only made him angrier. The thought that the Japanese guy was preparing to confront him bothered him. All right, it's going to get more interesting. Tyler smirked coldly. Despite being busy with training, Hasegawa and Kate's relationship deepened. Kate cheered on Hasegawa's training every day, and Hasegawa was even more grateful to Kate. Hasegawa-kun, how was your training today? It seems to be getting better and better. The manager praised me. That's great. Kate smiled brightly. Hasegawa also felt better. Thank you, Kate, for cheering me on every day. Without you, I might have given up. Hasegawa's heart grew warm. The day before the match, the manager gave Hasegawa important advice. Hasegawa, you've improved a lot technically, but there's still something missing. What is it? Your mindset. You're probably still only thinking about fighting Tyler. Hasegawa nodded. That won't do. Do you remember your father's letter? Didn't he say that boxing is not about beating your opponent, but about beating yourself? The manager placed his hand on Hasegawa's shoulder. Don't think about Tyler in the ring. Just do your best. The results will naturally follow. Hasagawa's training reached its peak. He had now become strong enough that the sound of him hitting the sandbag echoed throughout the gymnasium. Rhythmic blows continued. His movements had also become more natural. The manager was satisfied. "You're looking like a pro now. Considering it's only been 2 weeks, that's truly remarkable." However, the manager also knew Tyler had been formally training in boxing for years. The difference in skill was still apparent. Still, if Hasagawa did his best, it was worth a shot. Finally, it was the day before the match. Hasagawa finished his training and sat opposite the manager. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" "Yes, I will do my best." Hasagawa's voice was filled with conviction. "Remember, don't worry about the results. Just show what you've practiced. That alone is enough." The manager patted Hasagawa on the shoulder. "Your father would also be proud." "Yes, thank you, manager. Thank you." Hasagawa's voice was filled with gratitude. That night, Hasagawa lay in bed and thought. Tomorrow, he would really face Tyler in the ring. It would be a lie to say he wasn't scared. But there was no shame. It was time to show his true self. The morning of the match, Hasagawa woke up earlier than usual. Warm sunlight streamed in through the window, but his heart still felt a sense of tension. Looking in the mirror, he was clearly different from 2 weeks ago. His shoulders were broader, and his gaze was more confident. Today, it's really today. Hasagawa took a deep breath. He touched the pocket containing his father's letter, calming his mind. As he prepared breakfast, he thought of his mother. He hadn't told his mother about the boxing match. He thought it would only worry her, but his mother had already noticed. "Hasagawa, something special seems to be happening recently." "Huh? Why?" "Your expression has changed. You seem more resolute." His mother smiled warmly. "Whatever it is, do your best. Mom believes in you." Hasagawa's heart ached. It seemed his mother knew everything. His heart was complicated on the way to school. This afternoon, he would really face Tyler in the ring. The gazes of the students he passed in the hallway were different from usual. Everyone knew about today's match. Is he really going to fight Tyler? Has he gone mad? Tyler has really been training in boxing, but his courage is amazing. Whispers reached Hasagawa's ears. Some voices were worried, others full of curiosity. At lunchtime, Kate visited Hasagawa. Her expression was also tense. "Hasagawa-kun, how's your condition today?" "I'm fine. Actually, I'm looking forward to it." Hasagawa replied with a smile, but Kate still looked worried. "Are you really okay? You can still give up." "Kate." Hasagawa took Kate's hand. "I'm really fine, and thanks to you, I feel even stronger." Kate's face turned red. "What do you mean?" "I want to protect you. I want to fight with dignity for you." Kate's heart pounded. Hasagawa's true feelings reached her. "Hasagawa-kun, I have something to say too," Kate said, gathering her courage. "If you win today's match, of course, I'll be incredibly happy. But it's okay even if you lose. The important thing is that you do your best. Hasagawa, and no matter what, I'll be on your side. Never forget that." Kate's gaze was serious. Hasagawa gained great strength from her words. Just then, Tyler appeared from the end of the hallway. He walked with an air of confidence and looked at Hasagawa and Kate. "Well, well, here is our champion candidate," Tyler said with a smirk. "I'm looking forward to this afternoon. Are you ready?" Hasagawa replied, maintaining his composure. "Yes, I'm ready." "Is that so? Good. Then I'll see you in the ring." As Tyler walked past, he deliberately bumped into Hasagawa's shoulder. But Hasagawa didn't waver. After school, before the match began, Hasagawa had a final check-in with the That alone is enough. The manager patted Hasegawa's shoulder. Your father would also be proud. Yes, thank you, manager. Thank you. Hasegawa's voice was filled with gratitude. Finally, it was time to change into his ring attire, the red ring wear, specially prepared by the manager. It was the same color his father had worn. Looking in the mirror, he truly looked like a boxer. The quiet, withdrawn boy from 2 weeks ago was nowhere to be seen. Father, please watch over me. Hasegawa prayed in his heart. Many students had already gathered in the gymnasium. The crowd was much larger than expected. He could feel the great interest in this match. Murmurs could be heard from various parts of the audience. Can Hasegawa really win? Tyler definitely has the advantage, doesn't he? But Hasegawa seems to have changed a lot recently. Kate was sitting in the front row of the audience. Her expression was tense, but her heart was filled with support for Hasegawa. Tyler appeared, wearing blue ringwear. Indeed, he looked bigger, and his muscles were more developed. Cheers erupted from the audience. Tyler! Tyler! Tyler raised one hand in response to the crowd and headed towards the ring. He looked confident. Stepping into the ring, Tyler looked towards Hasegawa and smirked provocatively. It was Hasegawa's turn. Wearing red ringwear, he walked into the gymnasium. The audience's reaction was slightly different. Instead of cheers, there were looks of anticipation mixed with concern. But he walked with his head held high. He was no longer the timid boy he once was. Kate's heart pounded as she watched Hasegawa. He looked incredibly cool. Finally, the two fighters faced each other in the ring. Tyler was certainly a few inches taller than Hasegawa, and his muscular physique was impressive. Hasegawa, on the other hand, looked relatively small, but his gaze was in no way inferior. The referee called both fighters to the center of the ring. All right, both fighters to the center of the ring. Hasegawa and Tyler faced each other. Tyler still wore a confident smile. This is your last chance. If you give up now, I won't hurt you, Tyler whispered. Hasegawa replied with a smile. Thank you, but I'm okay. As the referee explained the rules, Hasegawa looked at Kate in the audience. Seeing her clasp her hands in prayer, his heart grew warm. The manager also looked up at him from below the ring and nodded. It was a message of, you can do it. He put up his dukes and clenched his gloves tightly. The 2 weeks of training flashed through his mind. Are you ready? The referee asked both fighters. I'm ready. Tyler's reply resonated powerfully. I'm ready. Hasegawa's reply was a little softer, but filled with conviction. The referee raised his hand towards the gong. It was finally time to begin. The entire gymnasium held its breath. Kate clasped her hands tightly, and the manager stared at the ring with a tense expression. At that moment, Kate suddenly stood up and shouted, If I win, I'll marry you. Kate's voice echoed throughout the gymnasium. After the shout, a moment of silence followed. Hundreds of students stared at Hasegawa. Hasegawa looked at Kate from the ring. Her face was flushed red, but her gaze was serious. It was truly from the heart. The audience erupted. What did Kate just say? Is she serious? Did she really say that? This is bad. This is really bad. Tyler's face contorted with anger. How dare Kate, whom he liked, say something like that to that Japanese guy? The match finally began. Kate's confession gave Hasegawa a new surge of power. Tyler immediately went on the offensive. He threw powerful, angry, consecutive punches. But Hasegawa remained calm. The 2 weeks of training were ingrained in his body. He moved his head slightly, dodging Tyler's punches. Oh! Exclamations of surprise came from the audience. Hasegawa had cleanly evaded Tyler's attacks. The Tyler's right straight cut through the air, Hasegawa moved. A swift, accurate left jab landed on Tyler's face. Tyler staggered back slightly. Oh! Cheers erupted from the audience. Hasegawa had landed a hit on Tyler. Kate watched, watching Hasegawa as if praying. Her chest felt like it would burst. At that moment, Hasegawa heard his father's voice. In the ring, the heart is most important. Overcoming fear and standing with confidence, that is true strength. Hasegawa's movements became natural. He moved around the ring as if dancing to music. Each time Tyler launched a fierce attack, Hasegawa dodged it flexibly and delivered accurate counters. Blow after blow landed on Tyler. Tyler began to get flustered. Damn it, why aren't my punches landing? Tyler had never experienced this before. He had always been the one to punch, never the one to be punched. The atmosphere in the audience completely changed. Students who had initially cheered for Tyler began to cheer for Hasegawa's fighting style. Hasegawa is amazing. Go, Hasegawa. Don't give up. Wow, that guy is really skilled. Kate stood up and cheered for Hasegawa. Hasegawa-kun, you can do it. Her voice reached Hasegawa. Hasegawa glanced at Kate for a moment and smiled. Tyler, enraged, launched a reckless attack. He relied on brute force rather than technique, throwing wild punches. But Hasegawa remained calm. As the manager had taught him, he read his opponent's rhythm. When you're angry, you're most dangerous. That's when openings appear. The manager's words echoed in his mind. The moment Tyler swung a wild punch, Hasegawa seized the opportunity. Tyler's large punch passed by Hasegawa's head. Precisely at that moment, bang! Hasegawa's perfect right straight accurately struck Tyler's jaw. It was the counterpunch he had practiced countless times with the manager. Tyler's eyes flickered. His legs lost strength, and he stumbled backward. Wah! The gymnasium exploded. Tyler fell to his knees on the ring. He didn't completely fall, but he was clearly dazed. The referee began to count. 1. The audience watched with bated breath. Could Tyler really get up? 4, 5. Tyler tried to stand up staggeringly, but his legs faltered. Kate watched, clasping her hands over her mouth. The unbelievable was happening. 6, 7, 8. Tyler managed to stand up, but the referee checked his condition. He was not in a state to continue the match. 9, 10. The bell signaling the end of the match rang. Winner, Hasegawa. The referee raised Hasegawa's hand high. At that moment, the gymnasium exploded. Wah! The audience collectively stood up and cheered. The sound of applause echoed like thunder. Kate clapped her hands, tears streaming down her face. Hasegawa had truly won. Hasegawa-kun, congratulations, Kate shouted. Hasegawa looked at Kate from the ring and smiled brightly. Voices calling out Hasegawa's name could be heard from various parts of the audience. Hasegawa, he's amazing. He's a real hero of our school. Tyler sat in a corner of the ring, disbelief on his face. He couldn't accept the fact that he had lost. As Hasegawa got out of the ring, Kate ran up to him. The two looked at each other. Congratulations, you. Kate hugged Hasegawa. His heart pounded. Thank you, Kate. I could do it because of you. Really? Did I help? Of course. Your support was my greatest strength. Kate's face turned red. The manager also approached and congratulated Hasegawa. You did very well, Hasegawa-kun. Your father would be proud too. Thank you, manager. It's all thanks to you. No, this is something you accomplished, the result of your effort and courage. Hasegawa's eyes softened. It was truly a dreamlike event. From that day on, Hasegawa became a completely different person. He was treated as a hero at school. When he walked down the hallway, students greeted him, and even teachers praised him during class. Most importantly, no one bullied Hasegawa anymore. Tyler also didn't come to school for a while. Hasegawa and Kate's relationship also became widely recognized. Now, no one found it strange for the two of them to be together. A few days later, Hasegawa and Kate were spending time together in the gymnasium. "Hasegawa-kun, thank you so much for protecting me and showing courage." Kate held Hasegawa's hand. "I should be thanking you. Thanks to you, I've really changed a lot." "How so?" "You've become stronger, and you can walk with more confidence." The two looked at each other and smiled. "By the way, Kate." "What is it?" Hasegawa nodded, his face blushing. "Were your words back then serious?" "Yes, they were serious." Then Hasegawa said bravely, "Will you really go out with me?" "You idiot. Of course." Kate laughed brightly. At that moment, warm sunlight streamed in through the gymnasium window. It was as if it were blessing their future. Hasegawa thought, "Just 3 weeks ago, I was invisible. Now, I have someone I love and have gained confidence." It all started with that small act of courage in the hallway to help Kate. I never imagined that such a small act of courage would bring about such a big change. For Kate, it was the same. At first, it was just a feeling of gratitude, but now it had become true love. A month later, Hasegawa and Kate were eating lunch together on the school rooftop. By now, it was a fact known throughout the school that the two were a couple. "Hasegawa-kun, I've been really happy lately," Kate said, leaning against Hasegawa. "Me too. Being with you makes every day feel like a dream." Hasegawa replied, holding Kate's hand. "But when you first helped me, did you know something like this would happen?" Kate asked playfully. "Not at all. I just thought it was the right thing to do. Thanks to that right thing, I got the best boyfriend." Kate kissed Hasegawa with a laugh. Hasegawa's face turned bright red. "Kate, thank you for believing in me. You idiot. It's natural to believe the person you love." The two looked at each other and smiled happily. In the distance, the gymnasium could be seen. It was where their love had begun. Courage found in the ring and love. Now, Hasegawa and Kate felt like they could do anything. How did you like today's story? Please share your thoughts in the comments. We'd also love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching today.